Good morning, it's Saturday. Let's start the show.
Your weekend scoop, it's LadyRo. Hot topics rolling in, the stories you need. From breaking news flashes to celebrity tea. With a smile and the truth, you'll always know what's buzzing today with LadyRo. Go! The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop. Wake up the week and let's gather the group. The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop with LadyRo. Bringing it all to you. Start your Saturday right with LadyRo Insight. Start your Saturday bright with LadyRo Insight. With LadyRo Insight. The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop. Wake up the week and let's gather the group. The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop with LadyRo. Bringing it all to you. Start your Saturday bright with LadyRo Insight. With LadyRo Insight. Start your Saturday bright with LadyRo Insight.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Scoop with LadyRo. Good morning, Alicia. Thanks for even being here. We're going to get started. Today, we have some really hot topics on the list to talk about today. So if you don't mind, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And we have some really good, interesting things I found in the news this week. And we're going to talk about them. We're going to do all the talking about them. Fair use disclaimer. Some material in this video is used under U.S. copyright fair use section 107 for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and education. Today we'll be doing a little bit of education, a little bit of news reporting, and a little bit of criticism. I have I want to make Saturday Morning Scoop informative and let everybody know kind of what's going on in the world and how it affects us, because believe it or not, a lot of things that affect us we may not be aware of, but it affects us in different ways. Today, hold on one second. Today we're going to give a little homage or honor to Mr. Shada Shakur, who passed away on September the 25th. We're going to talk about the police chief in Anchorman, Mississippi. We're going to also talk about the rapture that was supposed to take place it was going to be a 2-day event on the 23rd and the 24th of September. We're going to talk about Kay Michelle. She's on the list today. Dr. Howard John Wesley. We're going to talk about him. He's a gentleman who actually, he's a pastor, and he spoke about the Charlie Kirk unaliving in his pulpit. And we're just going to go back and just revisit him this week and what he spoke about on this past Sunday. We're going to talk about Andre Roberts. He is a superintendent for the school district in Des Moines, Iowa. We're going to talk about the Texas new districting map and what it does to African Americans. We're going to talk about the Virginia Lieutenant Governor. Her name is Winsome Earl Sears. We're going to talk about the special election that happened this past week, what it means for us. We're going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel returning back to late night TV. we're talking about the price of medicines increasing and what medicines are going to be increasing and how it's going to affect us as African Americans and Americans, period. Not erase the African Americans, but Americans, period. And then we're going to talk about a gentleman in Florida who said he actually bought the trademark for Charlie Kirk's Turning Point. So we're going to talk about that. I saw that on Instagram and TikTok, so I'm sure a lot of people have. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who saw that. But the first thing we're going to do is remember, everything I'm saying today is strictly for entertainment purposes, is in my opinion, and all of this is alleged. I have no facts other than what I found in researches. So remember, all views expressed in this live are alleged, in my opinion, and they're all for entertainment purposes. Don't go out of your way to dislike anybody. Just keep on keeping on with what you do, okay? So let's get started. So this week, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with I want to say Ashada Shakur. She was the step aunt to Tupac Shakur. She has been living in Havana, Cuba, which is where she sought asylum at a few years ago, like 1979. So a few years ago, it wasn't that long ago. In 1979, when she escaped the United States government. And I really feel like it is only befitting that we honor her today. Ashada Shakur, a fugitive Black militant sought by the U.S. since 1979, dies in Cuba. This is a picture of her. She was a very beautiful woman. Some of her later, she has some recent photos of her while she has been in Cuba. Very beautiful lady. And may she rest in peace. Let's go to the story on her. Ashada Shakur, a Black liberation activist who was given political asylum in Cuba after her 1979 escape from a U.S. prison where she'd been serving a life sentence for killing a police officer, has died. Her daughter and the Cuban government said Shakur, who was born Joanne Deborah Chismard, died on Thursday in the capital city of Havana due to health conditions and advanced age. I'm sorry. Cuba's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement, Shakur's daughter, Kakuya Shakur, confirmed her mother's death in a Facebook post. Officials in New Jersey, where Shakur had been arrested, convicted, and imprisoned, said she was 78 years old. A member of Black Panther Party and Black Liberation Army, Shakur's case has been long emblematic of the fraught relations between the U.S. and Cuba. American authorities, including President Trump during his first term, demanded her return from the communist nation for decades. The FBI put Shakur on its list of most wanted terrorists, but in her telling and in the mindset of her supporters, she was pursued for crimes she did not commit or that were justified. On May 2nd, 1973, Shakur and two others were pulled over by New Jersey State Police troopers because the car they were driving had a broken taillight. A gunfight ensued, and one of the troopers, Werner Fiorster, I think is how you pronounce that, was killed and another wounded. One of Shakur's companions was also killed. The New York native fled but was eventually apprehended. She was found guilty of murder, armed robbery, and other crimes in 1977 and was sentenced to life in prison. Shakur was charged with additional bank robberies and in the non-fatal shooting of two other police officers, but most of those charges were dismissed or resulted in her acquittal. Shakur's prison stint was short-lived, though. In November of 1979, members of the Black Liberation Army, posing as visitors, stormed the Clinton Correctional Facility for women, took two guards hostage, and commanded a prison van to break her out. Shakur disappeared before eventually emerging in 1984 in Cuba, where Fidel Castro granted her asylum. offering Shakur safe harbor, was one of the most famous examples of Cuba aligning itself with what it describes as revolutionary forces struggling against the oppressive capitalist empire to the north. Much like Cuba supported anti-colonial and left-wing forces in Africa, Central and South America, the Cuban government saw the armed Black liberation movement in the U.S. as part of revolutionary struggle, of a global revolutionary struggle. New Jersey State Assemblyman Michael Inganamort, who sponsored a resolution last year calling on Cuba to extradite Shakur, laminated Friday that justice was never served in Forrester's death. While the labor union representing New Jersey officers dismissed Shakur for her crime and cowardice, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said State Police Superintendent Patrick Callahan said they would vigorously impose any attempt to repatriate Shakur's remains to the U.S., which doesn't make any sense. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said State Police Superintendent, I'm sorry, I already read this. Sadly, it appears she passed without being fully accountable for her hideous crimes, said in a joint statement. Unlike his killer, Trooper Forrester never had a chance to live out his days in peace. Sondiet Akoli was also convicted in Forrester's killing, was granted parole in 2022 after being in prison for nearly 3 decades. In her writings over the years, Shakur has maintained that she did not shoot anyone and had her hands in the air when she was wounded during the gunfire. Most recently, her writings became a rallying cry during the Black Lives Matter movement, though opponents criticized her words as being influenced by Marxist and communist ideology. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win, Shakur wrote in Asada, an autobiography. Originally published in 1988, we must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Black Lives Matter's Grassroots Inc., a collective of racial justice activists from around the U.S., vowed to fight in her honor and memory. Michaela Amnes, Cyril, an early organizer of the Black Lives Matter movement, expressed sorrow because Shakur died during a time of rising authoritarianism. The world in this era needs the kind of courage and radical love she practiced. If we are going to survive it, says Cyril. I know I'm mispronouncing that last name, whose late mother had been part of the Black Panthers in New York alongside Shakur. Shakur's influence extended into the music world. She was famously close to the family of the late rapper Tupac Shakur, who had considered her a godmother. May she rest in peace. Hey, you guys, I came back to all these people over here in the live. May she rest in peace. I find that her story to me was always very interesting. And I'm not sure where she goes from here, where her family and her daughters will take her memory from here. But again, I've always found her story very, very interesting. That it may she rest in peace, Mrs. Shakur. And may her daughter find comfort in everything that her mother did, because her mother really they were making moves in New York and in New Jersey, and people didn't like it, and they were convicted. She's always said she was innocent. Good morning, Miss AKA. You made it to the barbershop. Well, enjoy that time. Good morning, bad girl Riri. Good morning, Shakara's Kitchen. Late, but I'm here. I'm glad you're here because I thought I was in here by myself. Good morning, Symmetry. Yes, may she rest in power. May she rest in power, because we all know that she was fighting for justice, not only for us, but for all African Americans. Next on the docket, we have a place called Anchorman, Mississippi. Y'all had never heard of this place until I started doing this research on this, but I've got to we got to talk about this. So the police chief in Anchorman, Mississippi was not reappointed when the new mayor, Laura Carson, took office as president. I mean, as the mayor of this city. Let me see if I can. Something is playing. I don't know what that is, but I want us to hear this.
Your undergraduate experience should just make you smarter.
Yeah.
The town of Ackerman is down to 2 police officers as of this morning. Martha Carradine was not reappointed as police chief. The mayor, Lauren Carson, confirmed that decision was finalized on Thursday. Carradine remains with the police department as of this morning, but she is no longer the police chief. Carson said the town is seeking another police chief who is better qualified for the town's specific needs, specifically when dealing with narcotics. The mayor said several police officers resigned. This leaves the town again with 2 active police officers, Carradine and a second officer. However, we are being told the second officer submitted their 2-week notice. Mississippi.
I had myself muted so you guys can hear that video. One by one, I have actually pulled up a TikTok of that. So we're going to play the TikTok as well. But after this lady was not reappointed, one by one, the policemen all started resigning. Like one by one, they were handing in their badge. And I thought, how crazy is that? This lady would, you just almost ruined your city by doing this to this chief. Let's take a listen to this.
Police officer in Ackerman, Mississippi resigned last night after Chief of Police Martha Carradine was demoted and had her pay reduced by newly elected Mayor Lauren Carson. Mayor Lauren Carson vetoed an earlier vote to keep Carradine, saying she wants a new police chief to crack down on all the rugs in the city. In front of a standing room only crowd at Thursday night's city council meeting, Police Chief Martha Carradine was demoted to an officer and had her pay reduced by Mayor Lauren Carson. Shortly after, all the officers with Ackerman Police Department turned in their notice effective immediately, as this outraged them and many citizens too. Martha was described as a devoted, caring, and outstanding citizen and police chief of Ackerman. This prompted many to call for justice for Police Chief Martha Carradine. It is also noted that the board attorney resigned during last night's meeting, and he will leave in 3 weeks. As of now, the Choctaw County Sheriff's Department is answering calls in Ackerman. But y'all, what do you think of all this? Newly elected Mayor Lauren Carson wanted a new police chief. She run a vote. The vote was like unanimous to keep Martha Carradine as police chief. But Mayor Lauren Carson vetoed that vote and demoted her anyway. I mean, let's talk about this over in the comments. Does Police Chief Martha Carradine deserve justice? Let's talk about it.
She did. I tell you, that accent it just sends me. But I thought that was so crazy that this lady would take office and just demote the chief, because without your chief, and then you don't have any other police officers, who do you bring up next in rank to actually keep the city safe? So they have to bring in the county sheriff's department to patrol this. Wait, what a mess. What a mess. I hope justice happens for Martha Carraway. I hope that she is deemed and brought back in as police chief. If you felt like this woman needed some training, you should have gave her the training. But to just demote her, to me, that is crazy, especially since you had people in the town who said they wanted to keep her. Ooh, honey, honey, honey. You said thanks for researching and fact check. I try. I did not want to. I do not like bringing information here that is not true. I want to make sure I do my due diligence because it's only fair. Thank you guys for letting me know my sound was crazy. Thank you, Symmetry and AKA Miss AKA. The lady Karma said it came real fast. It flipped the when I say it flipped the block fast, it flipped the block really fast. That speaks volumes about her character and her exactly. And this lady is a newly appointed mayor, and she probably won't have that position long, especially since the city attorney also resigned because of her behavior. We stand with Martha. We stand with Martha Caraway, and may swift justice happen to Laura Carson, whatever she thinks she's doing over there. Whatever she thinks she's doing over and there. Next thing, let's talk about the rapture. So the rapture was supposed to happen on the 23rd and 24th. I looked around, everybody I know is still here. All the people that I know that are really saved, the super saved Christians, the ones who, you know, they're saved and they kind of, you know, tinker they still here. Them devils is still here. Everybody, everywhere I look, people still here. So I don't know if anybody got caught up in the rapture of love. And I don't mean to make light of it, because one thing I do, I fear God. And I didn't speak on this before the days passed because I was like, what if this is really true? My little skepticism just wouldn't let me pick on it until after it passed. It's those 2 days are past. Today is the 27th of September, so I waited 3 whole days after the last day to even talk about it. But everybody I know is still here, and like I said, the devils are still here. The Christians are here. The super Christians, they still here. The radical evangelistic Christians, they all still here. And you would think, you know, I know some really saved people. And this morning I saw them on Facebook, so I know that the rapture didn't come, because it would have took my super saved friends first. Because I got some people I know that they going to heaven. They got to be going to heaven, and they still here. So the rapture didn't happen on the 23rd and 24th because it would have taken those people. It would have taken. My big mama said that this is about the idiot. She right. Big mama is right. She right. They don't know God. They know idolatry and confusion, which is not exactly bad. Riri, exactly. And on the 24th, and on the 20th, oh, happy anniversary, Miss AKA. Happy anniversary to you and the mister. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you have a great weekend, whatever that entails, baby. Have a great weekend. Happy anniversary. When I tell you anniversaries are beautiful, marriage is beautiful if you find the right one. And I believe Miss AKA has probably found the right one because she's been with him some years. 24, baby. Praise ye the Lord for longevity in marriage and relationship. But back to this rapture. So, honey, the rapture didn't happen. Nobody went up on up. They all still here, along with the rest of the demons and the devils that lurk around the earth. They all are still here. But people gave away cars. They gave away money. So I want to show you a couple of things that I found out here on the publications about the rapture. Let me see if I can share the screen. The rapture of 2025. Listen.
To apologize to everyone who have had me promote Brother Joshua's 23rd, 24th date of September rapture.
Guys, I'm saying goodbye to my car. I've had for 5 years. But she's mine no more. Someone else is going to get her. I'm catching a flight to heaven in September anyway.
I'm Daniel. I talk about real Christian news, and I'm embarrassed that we even have to cover this topic. I'm talking about the rapture that was predicted to happen September 23rd and September 24th of 2025 by false prophets. False rapture predictions are not new. False prophets are not new, but both are inexcusable. So instead of giving this any more attention than it deserves, I really want to take this time to talk to the false prophets and let you guys.
Y'all, I didn't want to go all through that because I got some more I want to show you, and we're going to be here all day. Listen to that. But you see where we're getting with that. A lady who gave some people some big tips. I don't know why the word just slipped from me. She want her money back because she thought the rapture was coming as well. Let's go on there and watch
hundreds of dollars because she was convinced the eclipse was the rapture, then returned the day after the eclipse to demand her money back. Because of course she did. The server shared in a Reddit post that the woman tipped her $300 on a $40 check, and then wrote on the receipt, "In case you don't rise on April 8th. She then returned.
So this was old. I don't know why it popped up on my rapture list, but this was on my rapture. But we ain't gonna talk about this because this is about an eclipse. But we don't give no false information. Scratch that from the board. We're gonna erase that. But you saw people giving away cars. There was a group of people in Africa that had just like they were out standing up under trees by the water, like waiting to be raptured up. And it's so unfortunate that they were all duped by someone saying that there was going to be a rapture. I wish YouTube had a rapture. Me too. I wish that they had raptured up all the people on here who play. Now they rent mortgages doing exactly. They're renting. Some people don't have cars. You saw the black guy. He gave his car away, and they showed the car on the back of a tow truck driving away. So how you gonna get to work? Because you're gonna have to find you another job. Doing too much. Let's just say that they did way too much. I know that man, I know he is. Bad girl Riri. I would be so upset with myself. Oh my Lord. In fact, I would have waited and I would have left a note. Give this car. I would put on the outside, give this car to whoever is around who need a car. I wouldn't have given it away before that day. But hey, people do what they want to do, right? Child, I don't get it. Now the sales from bus passes, they are definitely up. If they ain't up, they will be up. Because what if you live in a city that doesn't have bus passes or doesn't have city transportation? Because some, people live rurally or whatever, and not every city has transportation that goes to and fro. It is a mess. When I say this is a mess, this is a mess. This is a mess. Megari laughing. This right here was a mess. Yeah, I saw this yesterday. I thought it was so cute, and I was like, I got to bring this forward to the people. Let me remove some stuff out of my studio so we can look at this. What'd you say about the rally? Right, the cabby's coming through. Guess what? Ubers are gonna be. Their prices are their stock is gonna increase. Cabs are gonna. Child, I just wonder how many people actually really gave away their stuff, or people just talking, right? So let's see, y'all. I saw this on yesterday, and when I tell you, I must share this because I am a K Michelle. I am a K Michelle fan. I'm not gonna play I'm not gonna play the music, so it's gonna be muted. But I want you to see this. What I saw this week on K Michelle's Instagram. K Michelle says, "See, I don't usually do this. Thank you, Dr. Sin. I love you, and I'm happy to be your wife. I know I've driven you insane, but I'm worth it. It's time to plan a wedding. Who would have thought? Been in love with you since junior high school." This is Dr. Sim's full name, but he is a dentist, and K Michelle is getting married. A lot of people say she's already married, but she says she is happy to be his wife. So I'm going to say she's engaged and she is planning a wedding. And I absolutely love this for K Michelle. I think K Michelle is an awesome artist. She is so versed in music. She does R&B. She can do it all. Hip hop, R&B. She can do country. K Michelle is that girl. She just is. And I am so happy for K Michelle. And I wish her nothing but love and what is it? Love and happiness. I really love this for her. Congratulations, K. Michelle. Congratulations. I said, who else that came in here? Good morning, is it Yania Mercer? Good morning. I was like, oh, I know. That's how when I saw it, I was like, oh, I told my daughter, I was like, did you know K. Michelle was getting married? She goes, yes. These kids always know everything. She is so underrated. So underrated. When I say so, she is so underrated. I'm excited for her. She's super passionate, but she deals with a lot. And she definitely bad girl Riri. And I don't think people really understand that a lot of times when you're passionate about what you do and you've been through stuff, you have a passion to help others, and people take that sometimes as weakness. But I am so proud of K. Michelle, and I'm happy for her, and I wish her nothing again but love and happiness. Miss AKA said, "You right, Riri." Let's talk about Dr. Howard John Wesley, the pastor of, what is the name of his church? Let's see, I got a paper over here. I think Alfred Street Baptist Church. And I don't know, I think he's in Chicago. I believe he's in Chicago. But y'all, he actually, the week after the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, he actually condemned the fact that Charlie Kirk was unalived. But he did speak about the things, y'all, my chair is squeaking. I'm trying to stop it from rocking back. He did speak about some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and how he felt like they were not a message that someone who considered themselves a pastor should have been saying. And I totally agree with him. But on this past Sunday, he came back forward and he spoke again, and he talked about, good morning, Michelle. He talked about things that had happened to him over the past week since that first sermon. And let's give it a listen, if you don't mind.
It's been a different kind of week. I want to thank you all for praying, for remaining peaceful, for realizing that we've turned down all media requests because we don't engage in sound bites. We engage in preaching the whole truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I thank you all. Please know that the leadership of this church family, our staff, our deacons, our council, have done all that we know to do at this point to make certain that you are safe whenever you are in this space. And we continue to do so to protect ourselves and our house of worship. I want to thank you all for your prayers and your trust, and ask that you continue just to do the same. I love you back now. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you, family. Thank you. Thank you, family. You know, I never stand in this pulpit looking for any kind of notoriety or viral clips. That's not why we do what we do. You never know how God is going to use and move and shift. And this whole week, I've been reminded by my mentors that God has trusted us with this moment. And we've got to handle it in the right way. So I thank you for your prayers, family. More than the applause, I solicit your prayers over my children. Thank you. Let me be transparent for just a moment. It's been a tough week emotionally and spiritually, and I can tell you the truth, I just didn't have it in me to stand and preach today. Tried to do all I could, but the emotional ride left me in a place where I need to hear a word from the Lord. So I want to thank a young man who I've been watching for years, who as part of our convening. I consider him both a colleague and a mentee. He paused his ministry in Minnesota at the Brook Community Church to come and be with us today. You'll hear more about him. But won't you welcome Pastor Seth Martin to our pulpit today, who will bring the word of God.
I thought that was befitting to bring out what because he was very vocal about the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, and how he felt like it affected us as African Americans. And I really think that sometimes we have to take a step back, and we don't know who may be used, God may be using for a day such as today, when the pressure is on, when life is heightened, and we don't know what the uncertainties that happen out here in this world. And I appreciate him being transparent, talking about the prayers for his children, because I understand that he had been receiving some threats on his life and on his children's life. And we want to keep Dr. Howard John Wesley in our prayers, that the Lord will cover him, protect him and his family from all hurt, harm, and danger. There's a scripture that says that the famine and the pestilence will come to my house, but they will not enter in because of the blood over the doorpost. So we just pray that God continues to cover Dr. Howard Wesley with his blood and protect him and his family. And we're going to move right along. All right. Because I don't want to get too emotional. But when I think about the goodness of the Lord, I get emotional. Next on the list, let's talk about a gentleman by the name of Andre Roberts. He is a superintendent of schools in Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know if anybody else has heard this story. I found this story super, super weird. Wait a minute, let me go on over here and say some hi. Good morning, Michelle. You stay focused on the road and just listen. We're just over here chit-chat. You know how we do on Saturdays. We just come down here and do a little talking. Miss AKA said you be careful on that road. Symmetry said, hey, Michelle, focus on the road, sis. Amen. Thank you so much, Bad Girl Riri. In these days and time, we really have to have an anchor in, know we have a firm foundation and a spiritual savior who can protect us and who we can rely on, who we can trust on. When my mother passed away, I've told you guys, she passed away last year. My brother, who said some of the most off-wall stuff. We were preacher's kids, and he decided that he didn't want to go to church no more when he got grown, and he still doesn't go to church. But he told me after Mom passed away, he said, if I had a choice to do this all over again, I would pick the same parents. I would want to be raised the same way because our parents put so much foundation in us. He said, and the biggest thing they did was they gave us a hope. So I'm in the car with him, so I look over at him because I never know what's going to come out of his mouth. And he says, I said, what do you mean a hope? He said, a hope in Jesus. So that kind of brought me to tears to think we have to have a hope, especially in today's world. So let's go on over to Andre Roberts. Andre Roberts is a superintendent of schools in Des Moines, Iowa. Now, how this man got to be superintendent, somebody needs to tell us, because this guy was arrested by ICE agents. Thank you, Miss AKA. Thank you. You know what? I remember my mama telling me, because when I tell you I was that kid, I look at this, 16, 17, I tried to rebel. You know how girls are. And I remember when after I got out of nursing school, she looked at me, she said, girl, you had me worried for a while, but you turned out okay. It was right after my dad had died, and just life had been changing. I think my dad's passing away, although I was going in a direction, I believe his passing away started my direction to keep going a certain direction. I was going straight, but I think dad's passing kind of pushed me into being a more responsible adult, is what I'll say. Making sure that because I didn't have daddy to lean on anymore when I didn't have money. Daddy, can I get daddy, will you? Because my daddy, baby, when I would say, will you, he was there. Daddy, will you co-sign for me? Sure, baby. I had to get a whole lecture after he co-signed for my first car. He told me I don't need a little blue car. So here's what I need to do. I need to pay that car note every single month, because if you don't pay the car note, guess who's gonna have a little blue car? It's gonna be me. And I'm like, well, Dad, I'm gonna pay it. And he was like, yeah, I know you're gonna pay it. When we went in there, my daddy taught me what it looked like to keep your credit good. My dad had great credit. My dad sat down with the man in the credit department at the finance when we went to go get my car. He told the man who he wanted to finance. Now, when your credit good, you go in there tell him what you want, who he wanted to finance it, his terms. My dad was spitting off so many facts. I was trying to write it down. I had a little piece of paper. He said, "Did you hear when the man walked out?" He said, "Did you hear everything I just said?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "This is what I want you to do. Only put Quaker State oil in the car." Girl, I was like, I'm a little young girl, but he made sure that I understood the rules. To this day, in my big age, I do not know how to change a flat tire. I've never had to change a flat tire because growing up as a teenager, my daddy changed lucky for me, I always had a flat at home. So my daddy changed my flat tires. When I got married, my husband changed my flat tires, and now I have run flats on my car. So I get to the discount tire or to the nearest Firestone and get them fixed. But my daddy just was that dude. To me, he was. To everybody else, he may have not been that dude, but to me, my daddy, and I tell everybody, my daddy was that dude. He was just that guy. And I was so amazed at the things he told me, when we bought that car. He said, "I'm going to tell you this, baby." He said, "If you pay your car note every month on time, when it is time to get another car, you will never need another man to co-sign for you to have anything." And I'm here to tell heaven's ears, send it on up to my daddy, I've never needed a man to co-sign for me to have anything from that moment. My daddy is the only man who has ever co-signed for me to have anything. My daddy told me, don't be out here getting all these credit cards and spend. Are you crazy? I had a credit card come to the house, to my parents' home, and my daddy asked me, he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, sir. What is it?" He had taken the credit card. I said, "What is it?" He said, "You don't need no credit card." I said, "Yes, Daddy." They said, I was in college. They said all I have to pay is $5 a month. He said, "You don't need no credit card. I don't care what they told you. You do not need no credit card." Girl, my daddy cut my card up in front of me. Cut my credit card. And you know what? To this day, I appreciate it because he was trying to teach me a lesson. I didn't need the credit card. I didn't have no job. I was in college. And girl, people convince you, and they at the college having us fill out credit. See how Capital want to do you dirty at the college, and everybody got credit cards in there. And people, you get your credit card in the mail. He came in, but my daddy cut it up. Your daddy cut it up. My daddy told me I didn't need no credit card. He told me I did not need no credit card. Let's go on over here and talk about Andre Roberts. He's the school superintendent of Des Moines School District in Des Moines, Iowa. And somebody tell me how this here man became the superintendent of school. I got some questions that need some answers. Let's see if we can listen. This is about 1:38 seconds. Let's see if I can get the
2020.
Let's go up.
Dr. Roberts joined us in July 2023 and has held educational leadership positions in districts across the U.S. for 20 years. The Iowa Board of Educational Examiners issued Dr. Roberts a license to serve as superintendent in the state of Iowa in July 2023. There is new information that has been made public that we did not know, and we have not been able to verify as to whether that information is accurate.
We stand firm with our community, many of whom are feeling sad, outraged, and helpless. We understand, as we too are devastated by the news of his detainment. However, this does not stop our important work, and we will continue to provide outstanding education to the students in our community. Know this, we have protocols and processes in place to address this type of situation. We have leaders who will continue to show up in a way that communicates care, empathy, service, and action. We will lead with love and care for the dignity of human beings in Des Moines and across our country. This is challenging on many levels, and the reality is that we may not have additional answers right away. However, the strength of Des Moines Public Schools is in its people, our leaders, educators, and staff who will continue to advance the mission on behalf of our students and families as we wait for clarity in what comes next.
I'm sorry, but did they bring in the art teacher to be the interim superintendent? Lord, forgive me. The superintendent of the largest public school district in Iowa was arrested on Friday by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which alleged he was in this country illegally and without a work authorization. Andre Roberts, a Guyana national and superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, was arrested in an operation, ICE announced in a news release. Roberts has helmeted the district since July of 2023. According to its website, it describes him as a career educator with more than 2 decades of experience as a teacher, administrator, and executive leader. He previously served as superintendent in 2 districts in Pennsylvania and Missouri. Roberts worked as superintendent in Iowa despite not having legal status and despite having a final order of removal and no work authorization, the ICE news release said. He had entered the U.S. in 1999 on a student visa and was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge on May of 2024. So what has happened in the 25 years between 99 and 2025? I said Roberts had existing weapons possession charges. Oh, from February 5th of 2020, according to the release. Look, Andre's a nice looking gentleman, isn't he? Agents approached Roberts on Friday in his vehicle after he identified himself, but he drove off, ICE said. The vehicle was later found near a wooded area, and Iowa State Patrol then assisted in the search for him Friday morning. He was ultimately taken into custody, the release said. The Iowa Department of Public Safety said it assisted ICE finding a person identified as Roberts who fled from a traffic stop. At the time of his arrest, he was found in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a flexed blade hunting knife, ICE said. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives will handle the investigation into how Roberts acquired a handgun. I said, nothing is against federal law for people in the United States without legal status. Noting it's against federal law for people in the United States without legal status to possess a firearm and ammunition. This suspect was arrested in possession of a loaded weapon in a vehicle. He ran from the vehicle, but I guess you recovered it out of the vehicle, provided by Des Moines Public Schools after fleeing federal law enforcement. Sam Olson, director of the ICE enforcement and removal operations, St. Paul field office, said in a statement how this illegal alien was hired without work authorization. A final order of removal and a prior weapons charge is beyond comprehension and should alarm the parents of the school. But he hadn't hurt anyone in the school. It is not immediately clear whether Roberts has retained an attorney. Des Moines School Board Chair Jackie Norris confirmed that Roberts was detained by ICE agents on Friday morning at a news conference. She asked the community to practice radical empathy. The Iowa Board of Education examiners issued Robert a license. We heard all that in their little smoke and mirrors, and we're not going to keep going over it. But we're going to just pray for the school district, child. Who knows what the story is behind this, but I don't know. Yeah, it was cooking. Our school system is trash, honey. Me and turn into Ray Charles when it comes to protocol. You know what, bad girl Riri? I totally agree with that. I just want to know, who didn't do any background on him? So apparently if he's been in the United States since 1999. Hold on, I got my little trusty little paper here. Since 1999, he came here on a student visa. And he had an arrest from 2020 for firearms possession. And that is what caused him to get the order for to be sent back to his home country of Ghana. So what happened in the 20 years that he didn't get his immigration status updated? I don't know. It just don't make sense to me. And why the school board issued him a right to work without having a work visa. Because didn't it say he didn't have a work visa? Let me look at this again. He didn't have a work visa. He didn't have a work visa at all. Correct. He came here on a student visa. He was ordered a final order of removal in 2024. And he had a weapons possession in 2020. I don't know. Things that make you scratch your head because that makes zero sense to me. I wish him good luck, but it sounds like he's going to be deported. Unfortunate. So, also on this week, Texas redistricting map. Yeah. Under the new Texas redistricting map, a black vote now counts as 1/5 a white vote. So here we go. Going back to some mess that we thought we had overcome. Let's go on over here to the Tiki-Takis. We've already talked about fair use. And let's look at this story that I saw about the redistricting. This is coming from the House of Representatives.
White Texans receive one member of Congress for every 445,000 residents. If you're Hispanic, it takes about 1.4 million residents for that same representation. If you are Black, it takes 2 million. In this proposal, a Hispanic Texan has 1/3 the political value of a white Texan under this plan, and a Black Texan 1/5. It would take 3 Hispanics to equal the representation of 1 white Texan and 5 Black Texans to equal the value of 1 white Texan. Under this.
So, this redistricting, I've looked at the map, although they filtered in a lot of our blues to make them purple and a lot of it plain old red. Kind of is disheartening, to say the least. I just don't see how they're going to keep them SOBs red. That's my point. I don't see under this current administration those lines remaining red. I think you may have screwed yourself, Texas. Just because I know Texas. And I believe you screwed yourself with some of those lines you withdrew. Although you thought you may have been making them more red, you have a president who is Republican who has been spewing out a lot of rhetoric that's not really liked by people. So if you think those people are going to get in that booth and vote for the Republicans, you might have another thing coming. But we're going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to see how that works. While we're at it, let's go ahead and talk about the special elections. Wait a minute, you said those are my same thoughts. Exactly, bad girl Riri. So you explain to me how, let's just take, for example, you took Jasmine Crockett's area, right, which was blue, heavily Democratic. It covers Redbird District, Oak Cliff. It goes down over into Waxahachie. I don't know if it goes all the way to Waxahachie, but it goes over to Red Oak, Glen Heights, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Hutchinson, all that area. It comes down into part of Grand Prairie. And you tell me that from there all the way up that you somehow redistrict it to make it red? I don't think you thought that through. I don't think they thought. I really don't think they thought those lines through. I think instead of it staying red, because Texas has been leaning very purple. Very, very purple. And I think that they probably screwed themselves. They may have opened up more seats for Dems than they even thought. But we're gonna wait and see. Amen. Amen. So let's talk about the special elections. We had some special elections that happened on this past week, I believe. And in the special elections, Arizona was able. They had a member of the representatives who had passed away during his term in office. In fact, let me just go ahead and put it on the screen so we can see it. And although he passed away, his daughter was able to keep that seat. So that we were able to keep a Democratic seat. So that was a victory for us for the Democrats in the House. So that is one of the things that we could be thankful for. I believe there was a mayor race for, let me look. I want to say it was Virginia that had or was it Maryland that was part of the special election. I wrote all this stuff down, and no, it was New York. I believe it was New York. Was it? I may be wrong. Give me 1 second. Or was it a governor's race? And they were able to keep their it was so Georgia held one, and of course it was Republican. It was Virginia. Virginia had a congressional seat, and they won. Democrats won, which we need to keep getting those seats. We need to keep those Democrats in those seats, and we need to make sure that we are voting to keep, because we need these bills. Remember, the representatives are the ones who propose. They're the ones who vote on these bills that they're being passed. So we need to be making sure that we are watching. Democrat Adalita Grajava wins special election for her late father's House seat in Arizona. And this is a picture of her. And we are happy that she won in Tuesday's special election for the Arizona congressional seat held by her late father. She's in Arizona's 7th congressional district. It includes Tucson, and she won over Republican Daniel Buttigieg. She will serve out the remaining 15 months of her father's term. He passed away in March. So that is that on that special election. We also have a special election, a seat in Houston that is coming up. Sylvester Turner, he passed away while in office. I want to say earlier this year. And on November the 4th, if you are in Texas, talk to someone who is in that, I want to say Harris County area. And on November the 4th, be at that poll to vote, because we need to put a Democrat in Sylvester Turner's seat. All right, let's move on. Next, we're going to talk about a little lieutenant governor that hails out of Virginia. I don't know if anybody has heard of a lady by the name of Winsome Earl Sears. I gotta come back, baby. He not go down the stairs, will he? Okay. But let's talk about Winsome Earl Sears. Winsome Earl Sears, the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, is running for the governor's seat of Virginia, right? She's a Republican. She's a black woman, but she's a Republican. And if elected, she'll be the first woman of color elected to that position. On this week, she held a bus tour in Whiteville, Virginia, and no one showed up. And baby, when I tell you D.L. Hughley ragged her on it, several people ragged her on it. But I want, if there's anybody in Virginia who watches this, I want you to be able to see what they throwing at us, and they think we just gonna take it. This lady's views are quite scary. But let's talk about it.
Is not a Black American. But my whole thing is, why wouldn't you correct that interviewer who told you that if you got voted in as the governor of Virginia, that it would make you the first African American? Why did you not correct him? Why did you then go on and speak as if that would apply to you, knowing that you are a Jamaican immigrant, knowing that you were born in Jamaica, that you are Jamaican, your parents are Jamaican, your grandparents are Jamaican, and before then, y'all ain't got no documents. Given this current political climate, you can't say this wasn't on purpose. Given this current political climate, where it seems that Black Americans do not want misrepresentation of them in any way, shape, or form, it has nothing to do with you meaning us well or meaning us bad. We do not want you in our politics, period. Not only do y'all continue to say fuck this, but y'all go continuously try to do it with our own identity. Are y'all self-worth just that fucking low? Just that low. Just that low. There is no way possible that you're going to misidentify me as no Jamaican, as a Haitian, and I won't correct you. Even if it's not offensive, even if you ain't saying it to offend me. Like, even if you just woo-de-woo, you know, and yeah, because, you know, us Haitians, you know, we blah, blah, blah. I ain't Haitian, but yeah, you know, you feel what I'm saying? Y'all are nutcases, and it always blows my mind that when y'all come here, y'all supposed to be smart as fuck. Y'all supposedly know everything. Now y'all are the upper echelon of melanin. That's what be blowing me. That's what be blowing me. Y'all can't even hold a candle to the same people that you're trying to cosplay. Y'all can't even hold a candle to the same people that you're talking down on. Y'all can't even hold a candle to the same people whose country that you are in and benefiting from. Y'all can't hold a candle to us. This is why separation does not bother us. This is why. Even the Black Americans who don't want this separation, you notice how they're not scared? Right. We know how to do everything for ourselves. Period. Why is this something hard for y'all to believe? Y'all go into our schools and y'all are being born and raised here, which means that this is willful ignorance, because you literally cannot graduate an American high school without learning about Black Americans. Specifically, no matter how many times we say our history is American history, they don't need to separate our history. They continuously do and make y'all specifically learn about us. So there's no way that y'all don't even know. Literally. The same education that y'all are so proud to get, the same education that y'all try to keep denying. Y'all act like y'all ain't never even synced us, hurt us, nothing. We just run around like chickens with our head cut off. And y'all got all the answers now that y'all are here around us and our stuff, gaining our knowledge. Why y'all ain't never got an answer for yourselves, though? Miss Mamas, you shouldn't be in our politics, period. You need to be over there in Jamaican politics and figuring out why the fuck, after getting donated $150 million from the government, they decided to build a bar in the middle of the ocean. That's what you need to be doing.
Shout out to Glamorous Courtney. Shout out to Glamorous Courtney for getting Mrs. Winsome Earl Sears all the way together. I want to show y'all Winsome Earl Sears and some of the stuff she done let spew out of her mouth. All right. They gathered her together a whole lot. Babe, when I say she be over here just saying anything. Let's look at
it. We can do it now in this century. That's what we can do. We can do it. We can.
I don't want to, that's not the one I want to look at. Oh, this is it.
And you might become even more historic if you become the first African-American woman governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Tell my audience a little bit about you and why you should be the next governor.
Well, first of all, where are my manners? Thank you so very much, Major, for having me. And to your audience, good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Winsome Earl Sears is cosplaying as a Black American candidate. She did not correct him one time when he said, "This is my African American guest." She's Jamaican. She was born in Kingston and moved to America at the age of 5. Where is the African American at? Tell me. These people pick and choose when they want to be Black, right? She's choosing to be a Black American today because she feels like it's beneficial in supporting her to win whatever election, this government election that she's participating in. And Jamaicans told us numerous times over and over that they don't identify as Black. So why is she claiming Black if she's not Black? It's because it's beneficial to her. If you check the polls, though, she's losing by double-digit numbers up in the polling, right? The other lady, Abigail, is beating her by double digits. But my point is that they pick and choose when they want to be Black American, like it's a costume, when it's actually an ethnicity, and you have to have lineage connected to the United States, right? ADOS, American descendants of slaves, right? She has no connection or lineage to this land, but yet use that costume to try to benefit from it. Because I wonder how much support she would receive if she went out there and said that she was a Jamaican American or she's from Jamaica because she was born in Jamaica.
In case you haven't.
Shout out to Dunny. Dunny's on timeout. This lady says that she believes that people should plan their pregnancies prior to getting pregnant, but the way she posed it was so weird. Some of her thoughts are they're just out there. When I say out there, her thoughts are just out there. Donald Trump is endorsing this woman, but she's losing by a long shot. Listen to her crash out, and then we're gonna move on. My computer apparently wants to refresh. We're gonna stop sharing and we're gonna refresh her. Let's see if we can get that up. Exactly. Race versus ethnicity, the unspoken conversation. These people are coming over here, and I'm not part of the grassroots organization. I'm not part of none of that foundational Black stuff. I'm not into all of that. I promise you I'm not. But what we're not going to do is pretend that you are an American, you were born in America, and that you have all this grounding foundation in America, when the whole point is you're not truly an American. You are truly a Jamaican, and you actually operate as such. Let's see if I can get this to play as well right now, and then we're gonna move on from Win Some.
This is the president of the United States, the leader of your party. President Trump so far has not endorsed you, and you are the Republican nominee. So why hasn't he endorsed you in this race?
We understand what this is about. The president will make certain decisions. I've already met with him, and that's as far as I'm going to go.
Yeah, because in the other marquee race this fall, the New Jersey governor's race, the president was quick to endorse the Republican candidate there, Jack Ciattarelli. You said you've spoken to the president. What did he say to you when you asked him for his support?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk to you about things that the president and I have spoken about.
You had been critical of the president in the past. In 2022, you said this as he was gearing up for a third run for the Senate. Just listen to this first. I want you to listen to this first.
Is this what you're going to keep talking about? Well, I thought we were going to talk about the issues that are important to the voters. I'm talking about the education choices that parents
we can get into that. We can get to that in a second.
To talk about the
Hold on. Yeah, we can talk about it. I just want you to respond. This is the president of the United States, the leader of your party.
It's important to you, but the people.
Hold on. The viewers need to know what you said in the past.
Child, she over there arguing with this man about what? I want y'all to see what my boy D.L. Hughley had to say about her on yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. Because it may have, DL put stuff in his stories. And if he does, it moves right along and you don't see it anymore. I don't see it. So it may have been in his stories. But child, D.L. Hughley ate her up. Like literally ate her up. Today his thing says this is another distraction for the Epsteinth time. That is what DL posted in his stories on Instagram. We're going to move on past Winsome Earl Sears, Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. She actually took that position, I believe, after someone passed away. And she's running for governor. She's a Republican. And if elected, she'll be the first woman of color, but she's losing by a landslide. If you live in Virginia, please don't vote for Winsome Earl Sears, the Jamaican, pretending she's Black American. Let's move right along and talk about, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel. Hold on one second, you guys. You need me? Okay. Right now? Yep. You finished breakfast? Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm sorry. My daughter spent the night with me last night. Her and the little one, and they leaving me. And is he asleep? No. Okay. Didn't want them to leave before I said goodbye. She okay. Dog can stay in here. She can stay in here. We'll talk about Jimmy Kimmel. Although they tried to censor him, and she left. Although they tried to censor him, they brought him back this week, which we're glad that they brought Jimmy Kimmel back. But I want you to see this. 6.2 million people tuned into Jimmy Kimmel's late night return. This shows you that people care about the very fact that we want freedom of speech. We want our Second Amendment right. We are going to stand on the fact that regardless of whether or not you agree with Jimmy Kimmel, he has the right to say what he wants to say. Just like Mr. Kirk said what he wanted to say, and he should have been allowed to say it with no one coming to harm him, so does Mr. Kimmel. And I am super, super glad that so many people tuned in to watch Jimmy Kimmel Live. Jimmy Kimmel's Live drew more than 6 million viewers in its return to the airwaves Tuesday night, following a 6-day suspension by Disney over his comments about Charlie Kirk. Why this matters: Kimmel's return was expected to draw a large audience, but 6.2 million is especially impressive given that the program was not available to roughly 25% of ABC affiliates across the country. Because although ABC brought him back, not all of their affiliates carried the actual episode or the show. So I am so glad that Jimmy Kimmel came back. I'm glad that 6.2 million people decided to watch him. Go Jimmy Kimmel. Continue to say whatever you want to say. We're not going to say that the freedom of speech does not come without repercussions, because we know that it does. But what we are going to say is that you have a right to have those freedom. You have a right to your freedom of speech, and you should not have those things threatened just because you said that. I wanted to break down some of the things. In fact, let me do that right now. I'll go back to us talking about the House of Representatives and the people, the ones that we are missing. I pulled up so much stuff, you guys, because I wanted to make sure that I bring enough information to us so that we can have some clear understanding of what's going on. I talked about Representative Sylvester Turner out of Texas, not Dallas. He's a Democrat out of Houston, who passed away earlier this year in May, and that his seat is still vacant. Texas will be voting on that seat November the 4th of 2025. Please make sure you're registered to vote. I think the last day to register to vote is October, I want to say 4th. I may be off, but it is in October. But if you're listening to this, check your registration in the state of Texas. You can go online and check it and make sure it is still valid, and make sure you are ready to go vote. In Harris County, if you live in that area, in that sector, make sure you go out and vote. We need another Democrat back in office. Representative Raul Java, I forgot how to pronounce it. Remember, we talked about him a few minutes ago. He passed away in March as well, but his daughter was just elected to finish out his term, and we're happy about this. So that is a seat that is taken up by Democrats. Representative Mark Green out of Tennessee, he is a Republican. He resigned July the 21st, and he resigned because he did not agree with that big, beautiful bill. And so that seat is still available. The Democrats do have an opportunity to get that seat, whether or not they will, because this is Tennessee, which is clearly a red state. So those are things that I just wanted to make sure that we are aware, and get it out. If you know someone, tell someone else about that, so that we can actually get those seats taken care of. You said that was a crazy loss. You talk about Representative Sylvester. If that's what you're talking about, it was a crazy loss, because I think he was sick and he was in remission, and then he got sick and passed away. Really, really happens really suddenly. So we want to make sure that we are doing that. Let's go. I might have to come back later with this one. Let's talk about the price of medication, in case many of you guys have not been looking. I don't know where I'm going. Okay, here I'm back. But the price of medicine is set to increase. The price of cancer medication is specifically set to increase by, I think, 200%. Let's see if I can get this screen to pop up as well. SB 41 threatens to increase prescription drug costs. This was posted on yesterday. This is coming out of California, okay? The Capital Weekly. Shout out to them. Capital Weekly welcomes opinions, California public policy or politics, blah, blah, blah. Opinion. For my family, pharmacy is more than a profession. It is a legacy. My uncle was the first to become a licensed pharmacist, and then my brother is telling a story, right? And it talks about the this lady says she followed the footsteps. Today, I serve as a pharmacist at CVS Specialty in Redlands, California, where I work closely with patients living with hemophilia, which is a rare bleeding disorder. Hemophiliacs are people that can bleed out, right? Their clotting factors don't work like a individual who has the right amount of platelets and different factors that causes you, if you bleed, there is the capillaries that come, you bleed for your capillaries, and there are different things that come to the surface to create a scab. So you bleed, and then it closes over these little microfibers, heal it up, and then it creates a scab. So hemophiliacs don't have that. They have a rare, and they just bleed. They don't have those platelets that create that film that causes you to clot and then heal. So she works with them. And said this kind of high quality access is now at risk. The California Department of Finance has officially opposed Senate Bill 41, citing a California Department of Justice warning that its implementation costs would be significant and unqualifiable. When the state's own fiscal experts flag a proposal this strong, Governor Newsom should pause, especially when patient care could be disrupted. But we all know that, remember what she
and the Republicans quietly created the first wave of death panels. I'm not being hyperbolic. They are launching a pilot program that uses artificial intelligence to decide whether Medicare patients get certain treatments. That means an algorithm, not your doctor, can say yes or no to care, to lower quality of life and the potential of inadequate medical treatment. But unlike
remember Stacey told us that. Let's go back to this this thing that we're reading, this actual article. It says special drugs for conditions like hemophilia, cancer, and autoimmune disease could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. That's why pharmacy benefit managers PBMs are essential. They negotiate discounts, manage formularies, and help keep prescription costs affordable for patients and the plans that cover them. Specialty drugs that support patients with complex conditions like hemophilia, cancer, and autoimmune disease, among others, can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And it just kind of repeats what was said. By acting as a central resource connecting the various parts of the healthcare system, PBMs help pharmacies like me foster seamless patient experiences. So it's a lot of times patients come in, and I'll just use myself for example. Let's say that I need medication, and some medications require prior authorization. There is this medication that my doctor recently prescribed for me for these things that make me get real hot, and I have to have a fan, and I be drinking a lot of water because I'm burning up internally because my hormones are off, right? That particular medication or drug, my insurance said that they needed a prior authorization. Even with the prior authorization, they still denied it. Cost for that particular drug without insurance was $500 a month. I'm not paying that not for medications. I will sweat at night and drink lots of water because I can drink water. I need water. But just to think of those things, and the very fact that this is our life, right? We pay healthcare insurance. So I'm not talking about just Medicare, because Medicare is going to be affected. If you, as a private citizen, paying for healthcare insurance is affected, just imagine what our Medicare recipients go through. They go through even worse. It says at times I'm able to enroll a new member, get expedited prior authorization approval, and ship medications all in the same day. For patients discharged from the hospital, their medications can be awaiting at home, ready to begin treatment without delay. But that's not always the case. In California alone, CVS Caremark manages pharmacy benefits for millions of residents. They manage mine. And partners with hundreds of public and private sector employers and labor unions. These partnerships help ensure that even patients with complex conditions like hemophilia have continued access to medications that they rely on every single day. This bill, I'm skipping over you guys. As a pharmacist on the front line of care, I worry these changes will make it harder for patients to stay on therapies that they need. Hemophiliacs need their medications. Cancer patients need their medications. People with autoimmune disease depend on these medications just to be able to breathe, to live, to walk, to talk. And I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know to be facts. So we have got to make sure that we are vigilant about our pharmacy medications and that we are voting the right people in place. That is why I am stressing so hard about who we have as representatives. The reason why I'm stressing that you get out here and you vote. The reason why I'm stressing that you make sure that you are registered to vote. We're going to move right along so we can get on up out of here. We've been down here over an hour, almost an hour, 30 minutes. And then we're going to go a little bit lighthearted. Before I go, let's watch this TikTok that I had about the medication. And then we're going to go over to this, and then we're going to be done.
People are going to lose their health insurance. Now, prices for medications are about to, at minimum, double. Trump just came out and made this post that starting October 1st, we will be imposing a 100% tariff on any branded or patented pharmaceutical product unless they have facilities here in the United States. And they also have a very strict definition of what building means. It's not enough to just have a contract to start building. They have to be breaking ground or actually under construction. So in a time when inflation is soaring and people are losing their health insurance left and right, of course, it makes sense to create a mass inflation on medical products. Most of the pharmaceuticals that we use here in the United States are imported, so this could affect a broad spectrum of drugs. This isn't only going to affect the direct products that are being tariffed. The companies that are domestic are definitely going to use this opportunity to inflate the price of their products as well. It's going to be like 2020 again with price gouging. So go ahead and follow along to keep updated on this story.
shout out to CB for that, for bringing us that, because a lot of times we see things that are not actually, we don't hear or see things that are actually going on in our world. So it's always great to bring those things to the forefront, which I think is why TikTok is such a good platform. People are able to hear about things we don't normally hear about every single day. Yes, we lost Sylvester and Sheila Jackson Lee. When I tell you those were two devastating losses in the state of Texas, because Sheila Jackson fought for the people and so did Sylvester. You said, I'm jumping in the bushes, getting ready for lunch plans. Great content. Thanks. I appreciate that, bad girl Riri. I'll just have one last thing. A guy in Florida claims that he bought the trademark for Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. And you guys, I want us to look at this because I found this hilarious. Is it on live? Let's see. You know, they're going to give us a video. Here it goes.
Type of video because I bought the merchandise rights to Turning Point USA as well as the toy rights. I did that. I bought the alligator Alcatraz. I bought the Turning Point USA a few months ago when I first started this journey, and it just now went from pending to active. So we officially own the Turning Point USA merchandise rights. Peace. So part of these proceeds are going to go to Black pilot programs, Planned Parenthood for abortions and things like that. A lot of stuff Charlie didn't like. Figure I'd make the same.
So this gentleman's name is Eric Battles. He was just approved after purchasing rights to the merch for Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA earlier this year. We spoke to Battle, and he says he plans to send Turning Point USA a cease and desist letter next week. He also says profits will go towards initiatives that will help the Black community, such as Black pilots, along with Planned Parenthood, etc. Battle also acquired rights to Alligator Alcatraz toys earlier this year and has been selling the items via his website. Eric Battles is a booger bear. Baby, don't tell me that we ain't resourceful. Don't ever let nobody tell you that African Americans are not out here making moves, because we are. We just are. We just are. You guys, I want to thank you guys for joining my live today. This has been, as always, fun. I enjoy coming down here. I enjoy talking, the back and forth. I kind of came late a little bit today because I kept my little grandbaby last night, and he and I was having fun. And then my daughter was here, and she came in late, spent the night, and she cooked me breakfast this morning. So I wanted to watch him while she cooked us something to eat. So that's why I came in a little bit later. My plans are to come early, but the last couple of weekends I've had him, and I enjoy my time with him because he's so important to me. He's the youngest grandbaby, and all three are important, but he's the youngest. I want to give him just as much time as I gave the other two, because I gave them a lot of, when they were babies, infants and toddlers, baby, they stayed on my heels. My oldest one was my sidekick. So they just left. And when I say I love my children, my grandchildren, I mean absolutely that. So that is it for me today. If no one told you today they love you, I love you, and there ain't a thing you can do about it. I'm going to bring this lady to the stage. I saw this, I want to say New Year's Eve night, and I loved it. And I was in my shower this morning. I was singing it when I was taking my shower. So I'm going to share it with you. But if no one told you today again that they love you, I love you, and there ain't a thing you can do about it. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you later.